from Kyle Richardson, who is the new passing game coordinator for the Tigers, as you know, going into this year. And she asked him some pretty difficult, straightforward questions about what the offense is going to look like going into next year. So my question to everyone out there is, be the armchair quarterback. It's your time to give us your opinion. How would you fix Clemson's offense? I know there are many different reasons and reasons why Clemson did what they did or didn't do what they did last year in offense, why they were 100th overall in the nation in total offense. But we want to know what your reason for fixing it is. Not what was bad, not what worked. We want to know what you're going to do to fix it and make it better in the 20. If you were the offensive coordinator, what would you do? And here's a question. Here's a quote from Kyle Richardson to 24/7 Sports. You can read that as well over there. But it's one of those situations where if you look back at the big picture, I've been here 6 years, and you go, okay, we've done some great things in the passing game. As a coach, you can't just zoom in on last year. The flip side is you can't just assume we'll be better next year because of X, Y, and Z and not change anything. Obviously, my background is passing, and that's where Coach Sweeney has challenged us to get back to where we were. I think that'll come with some healthy guys, but we also have to get our confidence back in the passing game. We lost it last year, and once we lost it, it was hard to get it back. Man, I thought that was a great quote because, Al, you know how it is. ACC Media Day is coming up. Coaches don't give you real quotes like that. Maybe it's because he's a new guy. But coaches don't give you – they usually give you coach speak. So, Al, once they lost their confidence, it was hard to get it back. So, if you're the offensive coordinator going into next year, how do you prevent that?
Well, I got to tell you, this is, as far as fixing the offense is concerned, we've been talking about this for a long time. This is something that message board fodder will be talking about. People, always throwing in their opinion. I think it's pretty easy. More slants, more middle of the field, quick throws, leaves your quarterback, without that pressure. Well, having to worry about these defensive ends running at him, especially if they're playing Georgia in the opening game. And, okay, I don't know when they had the confidence he's talking about last year because, they got hit in the mouth game one. So I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about.
Maybe it was game one.
So they lost it game one without a doubt. A lot more slants. We've never used the middle of the field very, very well, in my opinion. And we haven't had to, and that's okay. You can win without it, and we've proven that. When we had the Mike Williams and the T. Higgins of the world and Justin Rosses and those type of guys. But the game is changing. They are using these small, quick twitch guys in the middle of the field, getting open. You can use a tight end over the middle field. Doesn't have to be the small, quick twitch guy. But there are areas of the middle of the field to exploit. I cannot absolutely stand when I see other teams do this against us and against other teams, especially people, when South Carolina's playing somebody and they have somebody running wide open across the middle. I was like, well, I don't understand why we cannot implement this into our system because people, if they use the middle of the field, it's so easy to find somebody open. I think we can do it. And I'll tell you this is something I noticed last year, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned this on the show. This might make some of the fan base cringe, but I'll tell you, I don't think Clemson threw anywhere near enough jump balls last year. Nobody likes to talk about the jump balls. I know we don't have Mike Williams anymore. I understand all that. I get it. It's tough. But I thought Clemson lacked the alpha last year. I think most people would agree with that. They lacked an alpha receiver. They lacked an option to just go up and make a play whether you were covered or not. And that would have done a couple of things. First of all, you don't have to be all that accurate with a jump ball. You toss it up in the air and you let your receiver go make a play. It doesn't matter if you're covered because it's a 50-50 ball anyways. Okay, so it's kind of irrelevant, but you use those jump balls as opportunities to help create an alpha. And I didn't think Clemson did that at all last year. I think they have a couple of guys, or they have several guys actually with the ability to do that in Ngata, in Dakari Collins, and maybe even Bo Collins. I think they have the people that can do it. But I was a little disappointed to see that. Overall, again, it's all about the middle of the field. Get the tight ends involved with Davis Allen, Brenningstool, and those type of guys. And, of course, you got your slot guys. You'll have your Will Taylor and Troy Stellato and Brennan Spector, those guys. So I think it's a pretty simple answer. Use the middle of the field, get it done, create some space. so that DJ doesn't have to throw in the tight windows, keep him a little more comfortable back there, and I think it'll pay dividends.
More of catches like that. One-on-one, beating the guy. Oh, by the way, winning the national championship as well.
Yep.
Houston, is that number one for you, or are you thinking something else?
I'm going to spin it a different way because, jump balls are good. I think jump balls for alpha wide receivers are always something that will always be something that Clemson will emphasize. But at the same time, and sorry, am I echoing?
A little bit. I don't know. It just started all of a sudden.
Okay.
Maybe the mic's too close to the computer. I don't know. I turned you down.
Is that good? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound better. Okay.
So I think part of this is the post-snap reads for the offense is something that Kyle Richardson also talked about. And a lot of the post-snap reads are going to be based on the motion off of linebackers, being able to see what's going on up there. That's how Joe Brady had a successful offense at LSU, right? Those weren't anything crazy, but them clearing out an area of the field and having a wide receiver read what the leverage was on a linebacker. So if you had outside leverage, they would go to the outside and you would get 10 or 15 yards. Or a lot of the times, if they had leverage going towards the outside, they'd have a wide open guy in the middle of the field that would get 20, 30, 40. If you had Jamar Chase, that's a 35-yard play. And then if you bring your guys up to have to cover for that, that's when you just go over the top and you have a guy like Jamar Chase destroy your All-American corner. There's simple things like that. The other thing that I would say is I like the idea of concept borrowing, and we started to do that a little bit this year. We started to get more two-back sets like Coastal Carolina and more option kind of looks. There are ways that you can get teams off balance, especially if you're trying to build confidence in DJ or if you're trying to build up confidence in Cade, if that is ever necessary. Keeping the defense off the toe, not just being able to key in on one guy, like we got to take away the run or the pass. If certain games you come out with option looks like Coastal Carolina, and then the next game you go up tempo and start hammering the middle of the field, there's ways to do that. Or you could go the Dan Mullen route where you have a feature guy that that's going to be a matchup issue, and you're trying to get them the ball as much as possible. I'm all for a variety of offense as far as this goes, but I feel like being able to first move to where it's a post-snap reading the leverage of the linebackers and what you have is going to be able to create a lot of opportunities going forward.
I think that Clemson, what I would like to see, I think they need to start with their strengths. Going into the end of the season, they did really well with the running backs and getting them as basically the workhorse for the team, and passing really kind of took second to the running game. And that's where they found success. They have 3 really good running backs going into next year. I'd like to see them continue to lean on them at first and hopefully help out that confidence for the passing game by starting with the running game. Now that actually goes against, as Al mentioned, that's not the way the trend of college football is going. So it does scare me to say that, because college football is going the way of throw it deep, throw jump balls, get behind the defense, and one-on-one all the way, and just air raid it out. And people in the chat are talking about that kind of stuff. But then again, I think Clemson has to play with the personnel that they have. And one thing I think they can do better, and Dabo Swinney has mentioned it, is again getting open in space, and you can do that with the running back as well. When they get into a call where they're blocking someone and there's no one there to block, Travis Etienne was so great at just scooting on his way out and getting into open field and being a check down for Trevor Lawrence. And that's why they were just so good. And they're looking and anticipating them doing that into next year as well for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I think having someone that can be kind of your safety valve is great for the Tigers. But I also think that someone that you can rely on, even if that wasn't their original call, if they can make an audible during the play, I think that's really important for them. So that's what I really look for. Let's look in the chat and see what everybody has to say. Now, Al jumped out again because I guess he's continuing to have some issues. which we hate that, but his internet's not doing very well right now. It must be overloaded. I don't know why. This is not normally what happens, but the show will go on. Houston, you still there?
I'm still here.
The show will go on. I know Al's about to throw. Knowing Al, he's about to throw the computer out the window. I know that, but we'll move on. So let's go through the chat and let's see what everybody has to say, because we want to get your opinion in as well. And plus, we got a bunch of people in. If you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe or follow, and also hit the like button to help us out as well. All right. So John gets in, says, love offensive creativity, but please no more passes by guys who don't throw all the time. That Shipley pass made me jump out of my chair. I think there got to a point sometimes, Houston, would you admit that Clemson got a little too fancy with some of their play calling?
That's even when Clemson had Trevor and Deshaun. There are a little bit of tendencies to get a little bit cute. When it works, you go, man, that was awesome. When it doesn't work, you're like, quit getting cute. Run the daggone ball. That's the kind of stuff that you. If that fake punt in the Orange Bowl in 2015 didn't work, man, that would have been some real ire for some people. But it worked, and
it worked.
Was like, hey, that's pretty great. Same with the jump pass. I'm not going to complain on a play that works, but man, if it didn't work, you're going to be hearing from me.
Clemson, Corporal Husk over on YouTube says, Clemson has to have a player that you can rely on to make plays underneath or in the middle of the field. This also includes running back in passing game, screens or swings. That's exactly what I think. I think the running backs can play a key role in the passing game as well, and I think they should play a key role in the passing game in 2022. I also agree with you, Houston, about the tight ends. I'd like to see what the tight ends can do. A lot of people are in the chat talking about the tight ends, and John gets in and says, you could throw some jumps to Davis Allen and Brenningstool. Houston, do you feel like Jake Brenningstool could be a guy that gets his name out there a lot going into next year, or at the end of next year? You think Brenningstool is going to be someone people are way more familiar with?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think Brenningstool and Allen are going to have great years if they're utilized correctly. As far as jump balls go, I would say situationally, look at what you need to do there. I think if you've got a chance to get them the ball in open space, especially Brenningstool, do that. If you can find a way to get him the ball down the middle of the field, by all means, he's going to be a great tight end for Clemson. And so I would look at that. Now, if it's a corner matchup that you have between Brenningstool or Allen, like they did last year against Florida State, if you got the matchup, by all means, I'm never going to say no to that. Just make sure you hit your throw.
So David over on Facebook says, what does Coach Richardson bring to the table offensively? Well, I don't know if you know much about Coach Richardson, but he was a really good high school coach. Let me give you some stats for him. Let me give you some information on where he came from. So began his career as an assistant at North Gwinnett High School in Georgia. Also held wide receiver coach positions at Lee County High School in North Carolina and Avery County High School. Has 2 master's degrees and a 2020 master's degree in athletic leadership from Clemson. Earned his undergrad from Appalachian State. Inducted into the York County Sports Hall of Fame in 2019. One of 6 members to be inducted, including, among those, Jadeveon Clowney. Part of 2 undefeated seasons at Northwestern, including 15-0 year as an offensive coordinator in 2010 and a 15-0 campaign as the head coach in 2013. Helped Northwestern to a record 107-24, an 817 win percentage with 8 Region 3 championships and 3 state championships in his 9 total seasons with the program. So this is a guy who's been known to be successful at the high school level on offense as a coordinator, as a wide receivers coach, and as a head coach as well, and a state champion, be that, and a Hall of Fame coach in the state as well. So he has coached guys like Mason Rudolph, Cordell Patterson, Logan Rudolph, Justin Worley, and Jared Cook. So he's coached some guys that have made it all the way into the NFL as well, and had some success. So looking back at who is Kyle Richardson, and by the way, he has pictures of him. His parents have pictures of himself in orange overalls when he was a kid. What more could you like about the guy? He is definitely a Clemson man through and through.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've seen him coach. I've seen him coach in person in high school. The offense was very good, and this was going against it was towards the end of the big run of Burns' team. So Burns ended up winning, but it was a very closely contested game. Northwestern was able to move the ball with relative ease on a nationally ranked Burns team at Burns. So he knows what he's doing when it comes to the passing game. And I think he's a up-and-comer when it comes to being able to assess the needs as far as the passing games go. You look at what he's trying to do. They're trying to create simplicity, but also evolve. It's a conundrum there, but I think it can be done, and I think Richardson's the type of mind that can do it.